The old city library was a quiet place, full of whispers and dust and light. It was a palace of stories, with tall shelves reaching up to the ceiling. Every book held a world inside. Every page held a voice. During the day, people came and went. Students studied. Children laughed in the reading corner. Tourists took pictures of the beautiful old stairs. But at night, the library changed. At 8 o'clock, a bell would ring softly. The head librarian, Mrs. Evans, would walk to the front doors. "Closing time," she would say in her gentle voice. People would pack their bags. They would return their books. They would walk out into the evening air. Then Mrs. Evans would lock the big wooden doors. The library would become still. And then I would appear. "My name is Leo. I am the assistant librarian. My real job starts when everyone else leaves." I push my wooden cart through the silent rows. The wheels make a soft sound on the stone floor. My job is to find the books people left on tables. My job is to put them back on their correct shelves. It is a quiet, peaceful job. I love it. I am always the last person in the library. Every night, after Mrs. Evans says goodnight, I am alone with a million stories. Tonight was like any other night. The clock ticked. The old building creaked. I started in the history section. I picked up a book about ancient Rome. I knew its home was shelf number 900. I walked slowly. I enjoyed the silence. I returned the book. Then I moved to the fiction section. I found a novel left on a windowsill. I found a book of poetry on a blue chair. I placed them all in my cart. I felt like a doctor, gently putting hearts back into the right bodies. Each book belonged somewhere. My job was to listen and to remember. I turned a corner into a narrow aisle. This was the philosophy section. It was always very quiet here. And there, on the small wooden desk under the lamp, was a book. It was a thick, green book with golden letters on the spine. I picked it up. The Nature of Silence, the title said. I opened it. A small piece of paper fell out. It floated down to the floor like a leaf. I bent down and picked it up. It was not a bookmark. It was a note. Written in careful handwriting, it said, "To the person who finds this, are you lonely too? Sometimes this library feels like the only place that understands. S." I stared at the note. The words were simple, but they felt heavy. I looked around the empty aisle. Of course, no one was there. Who was S? Were they a student? A regular visitor? I held the note in my hand. I read it again. Are you lonely too? The question hung in the quiet air. I realized something then. I was always alone here, but I never felt lonely. The books were my company. The stories were my friends. But someone else felt the silence differently. I finished my work. I put the green book back on its shelf, but I kept the note. I put it in my pocket. The paper felt warm. The next day, I watched people. I looked at their hands. I tried to see who might write such a note. A woman with glasses reading in the corner? A young man writing in a notebook? An older gentleman sleeping in an armchair? I did not know. That night, when the library was empty again, I had an idea. I took a piece of paper from my notebook. I wrote, "To S. You are not alone. This library holds us both. The last person at closing time." I did not sign my name. I put my note inside the same green book, The Nature of Silence. I placed the book back on the same small desk under the lamp. My heart beat a little faster. It was a strange feeling. I was starting a conversation with a ghost who felt lonely. 2 days passed. I checked the book every morning. My note was still there. On the third day, it was gone. In its place was a new note. My hands shook a little as I opened it. "Thank you," it said. "The nights are less long when you know someone else is there. Do you ever read the books or just return them? S." I smiled. That night, I wrote back. I read them sometimes. A paragraph here, a chapter there. The books talk to me as I walk. "What is your favorite section?" "The last person." So it began. We never saw each other. We never tried to meet. We wrote notes. We left them in the green book on the philosophy desk. S told me she was a writer. She came to the library to think. She said the silence helped her thoughts become clear. But sometimes the silence became too loud. My notes helped. I told her about my job. I told her about the feeling of putting a book back in its perfect place. I told her about the sounds of the library at night, the creak of the floor, the whisper of the pages. We shared this secret world made of paper and quiet words. Weeks turned into months. Our notes became longer. We shared small stories. She wrote about the old man who feeds pigeons in the park. I wrote about the smell of rain coming through the open window in the reading room. We were two shadows, passing through the same beautiful, silent space. We were friends. The green book was our mailbox. The library was our home. One evening in December, the air was cold. Mrs. Evans left early. She had a cold. "Don't stay too late, Leo," she said. "It's Christmas Eve tomorrow." I said I would not. I did my work quickly. The library was especially quiet. A soft snow began to fall outside the big windows. I walked to the philosophy aisle. The green book was there. I opened it. There was a note. But this one was different. It was an invitation. "Dear last person," it said, "I will be on the front steps tomorrow at closing time. At 8 o'clock. Just for a moment. I would like to say thank you in person. No pressure. If you come, wear a red scarf so I know it's you. If you don't, I understand. Thank you for the silence and the words. S." My breath caught. Tomorrow. Christmas Eve. I read the note again and again. I felt nervous. What if seeing each other ruined everything? What if the real person was different from the person in the notes? But a bigger feeling was there too. It was curiosity. It was a feeling of connection. I put the note in my pocket. I did not write back. I would let my action be the answer. The next day was long. The library was busy with people getting books for the holiday. At 7:30, Mrs. Evans rang the bell. Closing time, everyone. Happy Christmas. People left with smiles and bags full of books. Finally, the doors were locked. The silence returned. My work was done, but I did not take off my coat. I walked to the staff room. I opened my locker. Inside was a red scarf. My sister gave it to me last year. I never wore it. I wrapped it around my neck. I walked to the big front doors. My hand was on the heavy lock. I could see the snow falling through the glass. The streetlights made it look like gold dust. I took a deep breath. I turned the key. I opened the door. The cold air touched my face. I stepped outside. The library steps were covered in a thin layer of white snow. And there, on the third step, was a person, a woman. She was looking at the falling snow. She wore a dark coat, and around her neck, she wore a red scarf, just like mine. She turned. We looked at each other. She had a kind face, a face that knew quiet. She smiled a small, gentle smile. I smiled back. We did not speak. We just stood there for a moment, two people in red scarves on the steps of a silent library, watching the snow fall on Christmas Eve. The city was quiet around us. It was perfect. It was enough. After a minute, she nodded to me. I nodded to her. Then she turned and walked down the steps into the soft white night. I watched her go. Then I went back inside, locked the door, and turned off the last light. The library held its breath, full of stories, full of silence, and now, full of a quiet, warm understanding. I was the last person in the library, and for the first time, I truly knew I was not the only one.